Death at Gallows Green, Chapter 45. This my child was dead and is alive again, was lost and is found. Matthew 15:24. I have told you, Agnes said gently, but I will tell you again. All I know of the man is his name. I had not even heard of his death until you told me. P.C. Bradley shook his head. Surely now, Mrs. Oliver, that cannot be. Word travels fast in a hamlet like Gallows Green, and Mr. Todd was found yesterday afternoon. You must have heard. He shifted uncomfortably. Or perhaps you already knew, he blurted. Edward strained forward, barely managing to hold his rage in check. The interrogation had gone from bad to worse as Bradley managed to insinuate, without actually saying so of course, that Artie had had dealings with Todd and that Agnes had known of them. And now he was suggesting that Agnes knew of Todd's death before anyone else. Edward, a man of usually calm demeanor, completely forgot that he was a police officer. He was about to stuff Bradley's insulting words back down the man's throat with his fist when Agnes spoke. And you must have heard, Constable, she said with a simple dignity, that I have lost my daughter as well as my husband. I have been in this house waiting for news of the recovery of her body. I have no interest in other events of whatever magnitude, not even the death of the Queen. How would I have known of this man's death before I was told? That is nonsense. Bradley had the grace to look ashamed. I did not mean to suggest, ma'am. Perhaps you did not, Agnes said, wearily passing her hand over her eyes. We are all on edge these days. I wish, Constable, that I could be of more help in your investigation, but if you have come to me hoping for intelligence about this man who has died, you shall certainly be disappointed, for I know nothing. Bradley pulled himself together. Yes, ma'am, he said. Begging your pardon, ma'am. He blushed furiously, fumbled with the hat that he held in his hand, and tried once again. Begging your pardon, ma'am, he burst out. May I see your boots? That was too much for Edward. With a roar, he lowered his head like a bull and charged full force at P.C. Bradley. Kate made a circuit of the village green, looking for Constable Bradley's cart and horse. She was bicycling past the smithy when she caught a flash of something white slipping under the currant bushes along the path to Mrs. Wilkins's gardens. Betsy's duck. Without thinking, Kate braked quickly, jumped off her bicycle, and pursued the duck. Jemima had been missing since the afternoon of Betsy's disappearance. She should be caught and returned home, where she could be penned up away from village dogs. So Kate gave pursuit through the currant bushes, alongside the raspberry patch, and down the walk between Mrs. Wilkins's lettuce and cabbages and freshly mounded potatoes. But Jemima was clearly determined on conducting her own personal business, and upon remaining free to do so, she waddled nimbly through the garden and around a small stuccoed cottage, past a row of cold frames, and around the corner of a small lean-to shed. Kate, however, was equally determined. She stayed close enough to see the duck disappear through a hole at the ground level at the back of the lean-to. Quick as thought, Kate knelt down, thrust her arm through the hole, and felt around, hoping to catch hold of a wing or a webbed foot and pull the bird out. But it was not upon a duck's wing that her grasping fingers fastened. It was a warm, bare ankle. With a little cry, Kate pulled back. She sat for an instant, her heart beating fast, then bent over and put her face to the opening. What she saw in the dim twilight of the shed made her cry out with joy, for what she saw when she looked in was the grimy, tear-streaked face of a little girl lying on her side, looking out.